Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of Corona Geek here on Google+, the place where we talk about mobile app development using Corona SDK. Today I have a special guest in the studio. I've got the creator of Game Coder, an app that lets you build all your apps on the iPad and then export them to Corona SDK. So I'm real excited to talk with him today. So Richard, I'm going to ask you to say your full name for me so that I don't mess it up.
Well, my name is Ricardo Rauber Pereira in Portuguese.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, I totally would have messed that up, and so let's just avoid that altogether. Now I know you as the creator of the director class, and that people have used that for a while to be able to do transitions between scenes and things like that in Corona SDK. And but for people who don't know you and haven't used director or haven't moved over to storyboard, tell us about your background and how you use Corona.
Well, I'm from Brazil, and I've been assistant analyst for huge companies like Dell and HCL for about 7 years. But I always loved games. I made a lot of little games for me and my friends using Adobe Flash for the past 10 years, and others SDKs. And when I bought my first iPhone, the 3GS, my friend told me that I could build games and make some money with it. So that was very cool. And I decided to spend some money. I bought this MacBook White. I bought the other license and everything to build a game and put it on the App Store. So I made my first game in 3 weeks. It was called Hot Dogger, and I made some money with it. It was very cool. So I decided to go further, and just at that time I found Corona. It was at the beginning. They had almost 3 or 4 months of activities, and I had this opportunity to test it and buy it for the less money from today. But the big challenge was write all the code in only one Lua file. That was very hard to do. So that's why I created Director class. It was a huge success, and still people send me emails every day asking for help and telling me they are still using it because it's very simple. And I like that. But I can't help everybody. Because Director is open source and I have to pay my bills. So I have a lot work to do. And so we decided to make something bigger than Director. And for the past year, we were working on a new way to develop games, and that's how Game Coder was born.
Okay, so then what exactly? I mean, I gave a general description of it, but what do you see Game Coder as being?
Okay, Game Coder is an app for iPad where you can build an entire game inside your own iPad. You can import images and sounds, create scenes, the objects, put the code, and play the game, run the game right on your iPad without the need of a laptop or another computer. So it's an entire SDK made with Corona engine, and it has a total integration with it.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now, and I've got what is it? Dogs versus Aliens.
Yes, this is the sample that goes right through the. When you download Game Coder, you can see this whole game. Yeah, that's it. So developers can take a look at a game made entirely with Game Coder.
So okay, so how would somebody create the game using Game Coder? How does that process work?
That's actually very easy because Game Coder have specific screens for each part of your game. So first you can edit the project info, like the orientation is be vertical or horizontal. then you can create scenes and edit scenes. That's the coolest part of the game coder, I think, because you can simply touch the objects, drag it, and drop on the stage, and it's done. It's all they need to build an entire scene. Just drag and drop the objects. And of course, you have object attributes and the code for everything. But the code is easier than it sounds like. You can take a look at the list of codes, touch it, drag, and drop into the lines. So the code is already ready to be played. We can take a look at the screen if you want, but I think it's a very innovative and very easy to do.
Let's see if I can get there. Now there's a view of the assets and things like that you're talking. So here's a scene.
Yes, that's a scene edit screen.
And then that scene
those objects down there are all the objects from the project. So if you hold one of them for a little and drag it to the stage, it will be there without anything else. And if you want to change it, yes, like that. And if you want to change it, just touch and move it. You can pinch to zoom and rotate.
I think I rotated the background.
Yeah, it works with layers also. So if you double tap on something on the screen, like this background, you can see all the information to edit precisely. So you can put the rotation, the width, the height, the layer it is. So it's almost like the layers in the groups in Corona.
Yeah, it's very intuitive. It's very easy to get the flow of how things work once you start touching things and moving things around. It makes perfect sense. So let me ask you, how does someone get their assets into the game then? If everything's kind of here and you start, how do they get their access into the app?
Well, that's very easy too. At the main screen, you can see all your projects, images, and sounds and configuration of the app. Okay. If you want to import sounds and images, just need to touch on the choice you want. Okay. Touch the plus button to add, and it will ask the permission to use your Dropbox account. So you can put all your assets into your Dropbox folder or something like this. Just touch this plus button, connect to your Dropbox account, and choose it. When you touch it, it will download your asset, and it's right to use on GameCoder. It's very easy.
Okay.
Just need the Dropbox account.
Okay, so you take Dropbox, pull in your assets, and then once you have those there, you can drag them onto your scenes and manipulate them however you want. And then you say that each one of those you can touch and adjust the properties for each asset that's in the scene. Yes. And then in the code, you're saying that there's a drag and drop place where you can drag and drop code pieces into your scene as you develop the logic for it. Is that correct?
Yes. You have the main code for the project, the scene code, and the object code.
Okay.
It's separate, but you can make a game with object-oriented programming style. Let me say that. It's almost like that to work with GameCoder. You can put a code for the single object or scene or the main for the project.
Okay. So now once I'm finished with my project, then is it the same process? How do I export it out?
Almost the same thing like the import images and sounds. You can go to the first screen, touch the projects, and there will be a little gear near your project. So you can touch it, and it will give you two choices. export to Corona. So you will be you will see your Dropbox folders again. Just choose it and export. It will generate a zip file with all the source, with Lua files, images, and sounds, and the publish. So you don't want to go further. You just want to see your app on the App Store. The publish will send us the game, so and we will do the job for you. So that's the two types of exporting projects. You can work with Corona or send us to put on the App Store for you.
Okay, and that's really interesting because you guys handle the whole publishing process, which simplifies things for the developer.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so once I've exported my app, let's say I export it to Dropbox and I want to work with it, how can I work with it outside of GameCoder? Can I open it up in a text editor? How does that work?
Sure. We made this this export and routine to create all the Lua files indented with comments to make it easy to understand. So you can open it as you were developing it yourself. So it's very user-friendly, the structure of the Lua files that we generates with GameCoder. When you download GameCoder, you have this Dogs versus Aliens. You can try, after download it, just export it and take a look at the code. It's very easy to understand and very easy to change and go further on the development.
Now, I'm assuming that you wouldn't then be able to import it back into the GameCoder. Is that correct?
Sorry?
Like if you exported, let's say I took the Dogs versus Aliens, I exported it out to Dropbox. If I changed the code there, I wouldn't then be able to import it back into the app. Is that? I mean, there's no way to import a project into the app at this moment, is there?
No, at this moment we don't have this feature.
Okay.
We are planning to build something like that, and also a pro version of GameCoder for desktop, so you can build on computers and have integration to your mobile.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. I just want to make sure that people understand. When you're developing here, you're going to export out, and that's going to be your finished product. And if you want to make changes, you need to make it here and then export that out, so that nobody gets confused. So basically, it's games, right? At the moment, do you have any plans for apps or anything like that, or can it do apps?
Yes. Right now, GameCoder is for games, but we are already making another version of this engine working with widgets. So user could create apps using table views and other kinds of components specifically for apps. And we have also in our roadmap a service for web services. So users will have the feature to integrate their apps with a web service without the need of developing it with I don't know, PHP and other languages out there.
Now, you had mentioned at some point that we talked about importing your assets into your project, into Game Coder. I think I had mentioned you and I had talked about at some point there possibly being a asset library. Is that something that's coming?
Yeah, actually, is an asset store. We want everybody to develop games and make money too. So if you are not a developer or you are a designer or you are a musician, something like that, or just want to do something, we are planning to have this assets store. So users can put packs for images, packs of sounds, and the other developers that use GameCoder could buy it. And we put this store for everybody. With imagine something like that. You are a designer, and you want to make packs for Christmas or Easter. Some graphics for it for that. There are another developers that doesn't know or doesn't have the skills to do something like that. So you can put on the store, and the other developers can buy it from you. So you will do all of this right on your iPad. You are on GameCoder. I want some Christmas pack. Okay, I'm enter the store. I'm choose the one I want. I buy this pack. The developer uses the pack, and the designer wins money. Something like that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah, I like that. I just want to make sure that people understand that they can add their own stuff to it, and then eventually there will be this asset store where they'll be able to just draw from existing assets and build something very quickly. Is that something that the asset store, is that something that's in development now, or is it something that's included in GameCoder today?
No, it is in our roadmap.
Okay.
I think this will be the next huge update.
Okay.
Besides the bug fixes and other stuff like that. But we are planning to release that in March or April, something around there.
Okay. So where would you say that GameCoder lives in the development process then? I mean, if you do everything kind of on the device here, and then you have your regular Corona environment that you use, or you may be accustomed to, where do you see this living in that whole development process?
Well, it can be the entire development process. You can build your game from the scratch and send us to publish. So all your work will be inside GameCoder. Or if you just want to start an idea, make this design for the scenes and export to Corona, you can do it like that and go ahead and using Corona and all of its capabilities. So it can be all or just some part at the beginning, that maybe creating a little sample to show your boss that this would be a great game. So
yeah, right. Yeah, it seems
there
like
are a lot.
it seems like it would be great for prototyping. It would be great for starting the app out and building a lot of the pieces of it. And then if there was something that you needed to do outside of it, then export out, finish it up there, and then you're done. So everybody will have to figure out what their workflow is, but it has that potential to provide that for you. So okay, so GameCoder is in the iOS App Store and the Apple App Store. So where can people find more information about GameCoder, and where should they get started?
Well, to get started, we have our website right for GameCoder at our own website from Beelieve. We have some information, resources, and a forum. So if they had some questions, issues, and other things like that, they can enter our site and ask their questions for us. Also, we make this little walkthrough video. We'll be releasing it right with GameCoder just this February. That shows almost everything you can do, but in a simpler way. So if still have doubts on how to use or something like that, the users can talk to us by our website.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will definitely put a link to that into the show notes, and also include the video, because you went through and explained everything that we've talked about today is shown firsthand in the video as you walk them through how the process works. So I definitely want to include that as well, and so for the most part, yeah, go check it out. It's in the App Store now, right? You're constantly working on it. I mean, I know I see updates coming out on a regular basis. So so that's very exciting to see that each time that you put something out, you're actively working on it. It's a project that you, like you said, you're really putting time and energy into it. You've got a plan for it, so
Oh
it's great.
yeah.
It's great to see. Well, very cool. I appreciate you sharing that with us, and thank you for putting in so much hard work and effort into this because I really think that developing on the app on the device is a great a model, and I think you've done it well. Okay, thanks for watching this episode of Corona Geek. That was my interview with Ricardo, developer of Game Coder, an app that lets you build mobile games on your iPad using Corona SDK. Now, if you go to the Apple App Store and search for Game Coder, you'll be able to find his app there. Now remember, it is an iPad app, so you'll have to go there on your iPad and download it from there. I will also put a link to his website in the show notes where you can go and see all the resources that he has for that app on his website. Okay, now if you're listening to this show on the podcast, you're not going to be able to see what I'm about to show you next, but if you've been watching, you can see that we've got a brand new backdrop for the studio. So we had this printed up. It's a bunch of icons from apps that were created using Corona SDK. Unfortunately, my wall isn't that big, so I wasn't able to fit them all on there. But it's a nice little sample of the apps that have been created using Corona SDK, and you guys have done a great job, and I'm proud to have that on my wall as the backdrop for Corona Geek. So thank you for that. So that's all I have for today. Be sure to check out Corona Geek every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. GMT. And until next time, have fun coding. I'll talk to you later. Bye.